Day 73 of 365 Days of Remembering. Trina right here. I'm so excited to talk with you about what it means to be a spiritually conscious being, choosing to live in that clarity and that knowing. And today I want to talk about more about the multidimensionality of beingness. And I want to relate it back to the video I had done before about staying in the center of calm amidst whatever's going on in Maya, whatever the conditions are external to us, whatever other creations are being amplified and activated. So how do we use this new understanding of who we really are, this multidimensional beingness, and use that then in a way that helps us stay stable, stay serene, calm in the midst of a storm? Perfect. So if you're interested in that, if you want to know more about that, if you feel like this is important for you right now, then please click on the subscribe button, hit the little bell so you'll get notified when I feel flow and want to share another video, and like this video. Yay! I like that you're here. I enjoy your presence, and I know that together we can amplify all understanding, see through all delusion, come home to ourselves because it's beautiful. So when I was talking about the multidimensionality of beingness, I spoke about the three seemingly most logical, obvious aspects to ourselves, though I'm sure there's many more, but for simplicity's sake, the three aspects of our beingness, which included our inner being, and then the state that our inner being represents in a more physical way could be seen as awareness, so that sort of observer, the noticing mind, the sort of holder of everything. And then the person, the character, which I prefer to call my person, Trina, the character. So a piece of the puzzle that I wanted to add into today is it's interesting if we stay in awareness, if we stay in the view of what our inner being sees, and we just are looking, what is it we're looking at? Well, we're looking at everything around us. When there's that idea of see things through the eyes of Source or see things through the eyes of God, there's a distance that happens when we do that practice. There's a stepping back into that feeling that I was talking about, that feeling of awareness. So we could look at that as being one step into the physical is where awareness sits. From the inner being be pure soreness, pure oneness, awareness is like that one further step. And if we practice and can get our attention, our focus to go into that stage of awareness, and then we are looking at the world in the same way that Source would see it, especially in that same perspective. So we're zoomed out, and what is it we're looking at? I mean, we could be looking at everything. I see lots of trees around me. I see the ground. I mean, I'm looking at everything that is in essence an illusion, but also I'm looking at this character. And for me, the awareness that I reside in is watching this character. Just like my inner being is perfectly attuned and perfectly designed for me, understands completely and perfectly all the theme and blueprint and ideas that I brought with me into this experience, knows where I stand. Who's the I that I'm talking about? My character. So there is some cues that she's taking from my character in the sense of what she moves forward to manifest next, what vibration she holds as the newest expanded version of me. And of course, it gets complicated because I'm throwing out I's and me's, and it's hard to tell which aspect of those three I'm talking about in any given moment. But I was playing with this idea of if you could get into that state of awareness, and from that state of awareness, you're watching your character. Non-judgmentally, the same way that Source would do it. Just look, so you're now merging sort of awareness and your inner being. So I'm standing in awareness, stepping into that space that's distant. I'm looking back at my inner being, or looking down, or looking forward, whatever you want to do. You're looking upon your inner being with the eyes of Source, filled with divine love. But you also can see her stuck points or his stuck points. You can see how the expansion could go better, how things could move forward, and dynamically interact in that sphere. And the number one question amidst the storm of Maya, amidst the storm of others' creations, is where is your character? Where is my character? Where is Trina putting her focus? What is she under the influence of? And it's very poignant at these times in this day to say, there's a lot of fear. I mean, we have a lot of fear normally. It's played upon all the time by what seems like things outside of us, but really it's our own fear manifested in front of us. So right now, the thing to look at would be to look at Trina and say, is she under the influence of fear, or is she under the influence of Source? her inner being. And of course, that's simplifying it. That's dualizing it, so to speak, in the sense that it's probably not that cut and dry. There's probably moments that fear is edging out and moments that source is edging out. But isn't that cool to have that? And so when we step in that place of awareness, now we get to fully see where the influence is coming from, where she, if you distance yourself, is putting most of her attention and focus. And then from that place, now you have awareness of it. So now you can take that awareness, because remember, simultaneity is here. So you are simultaneity. Also, the actor within Trina. You are that. You are the character. You are the awareness. You are the inner being. You're all of it. It's just, where do you want to put your focus in any one moment? So now that you have that awareness, step back in to a deeper connection with Trina and be like, or with your character, and be, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to bring myself back to the influence of source, to the influence of my inner being, to the influence of love, to the influence of joy, to the influence of what is good in this world, even to the simple statement of everything is always working out for me. And even if I can't see how this is working out, it doesn't matter, because I trust that it is. And there's some perspective also that can come from that when you do this zooming out. Like, this catalyst, which is what it is serving me. It's helping me to see the layers of fear that still exist within my character that need to be shed so that she can move and expand and create and flow and serve in deeper and deeper ways. And so thank you, because I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to know that, so that now I can make a different choice. It's like, when you're looking really zoomed in at something, you know, it's that funny story about the elephant and these suns that all wash a different part of the elephant, but they can only see the one part they're focused on. And because of that, they think funny little things like, I don't know if I can remember, but you might think the trunk is a hose, and you might think the tail is a wire, and you might think that the leg is a pole. Because out of context, you don't see the entire elephant. So you're just so focused in that you can't step out of it. So sometimes that's what happens with us, is we're just so in the character mode. We're so in that space, taking our cues from her, taking our cues from the surroundings, that we're not noticing what needs to be noticed. We're not seeing where she's stepped into lack, where she's too much in fear. And so this pulling back out and being in awareness gives us that perspective, and then fully adding in the whole component of what is awareness made up of? Well, awareness, the container that holds everything, is made up of love and light. So is then seen through the eyes of source. What does it look like? How would God view this? And then see the whole bigger picture, and know that the whole goal of being here, at least in my mind, the intention that I set, was to come to be the most fullest expanded version of myself, because I'm ultimately on a soul journey, and my character is just the extension that takes me on that soul journey, that is here so I can be in this physical space where duality exists, where reality looks like all of these objects that I can then play with and manipulate and interact with other aspects of myself in a much bigger play. So this whole thing, anything that's been created outside of me, was created to be the catalyst to take me, which is the same for you, to a deeper understanding of what you have going on and where you're putting your focus. So what does it take to then bring us back to source, bring us back to that as being our focus? Well, today I spent my day out in nature, like I often do. Great place, great space to come into that. Great space to feel awareness, great space to feel and noticing, great space to be aware of your thoughts, but not be attached to them, great space to play with those ideas about finding the gaps in the spaces, great place to be in epic appreciation. The sun is shining, it's a gorgeous day. I don't know if you can see, but the sky is blue. And I feel my full-on presence while I'm here. I look around, I see so many incredible different kinds of trees. I mean, I never seen ponderosa pines to the degree that I seen them here, because I just moved to California. So, wow, I stand in that appreciation. And arbutus trees, which this is a part of an arbutus tree behind me, but it's part of the family of that same tree. These craggy, smooth, dark, vibrant, sort of rust-colored barked trees that peel their bark and turn toward the sun and just do these cool, epic things for trees, excite me and light me up whenever I see them. But every single thing I see, like the dirt, the rocks, the grass, the ground, the multitude of flowers, the clouds, like whatever it is that appears, to think, wow, all of that is here for me to understand who I am. All of that I created, and all of it is beautiful, and just step into that appreciation. And not only that, ultimately all of it is source expressing, God expressing, and see it full in that. That just brings you home. It brings you back to that center. And it was just so easy, and I got a little bit of exercise while I was doing it, and some sunshine. So it's like a win-win. So that's an easy thing to do, to just step outside of your day-to-day, step outside, do a pattern interruption by making a different choice, which could be to go outside. It could be to just pause, to just, no matter what you're doing, whether you're at home with your kids, whether you're working at a desk, whether you're not driving in the car, but parked in your car, at some point, just take a pause. Just take a pause, close your eyes, and let your focus go inward. Just let it go inward. And if thoughts come, just see them. Don't get attached, but just see them and feel for what's beyond, what's beneath the thoughts. Just feel that for just like 10 seconds, just feel it. And then just come back. That's another way to help us stay in that attuned place, to say in that 10 seconds or even beyond that 10 seconds, say, so that's what it feels like to be more influenced by source. And when you hear something that maybe doesn't sit right with you or causes you to feel that initial like contraction of fear, just do that simple, just breathe and be like, it's okay. I can notice this too. That's okay. I'm not her. I'm not that character. She's just having that experience, and I love her with it, and I soothe her. And if words come, take on that attitude of like, I am going to soothe my character. What would help right in this moment to soothe her back into the influence of source? Because sometimes you can't just flip it like that. There needs to be a soothing. And sometimes information helps with the soothing. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just like a shake, like, hey, you remember, you forgot, wake up. There's nothing to be afraid of. Everything's working out here. But if that's not enough, then work with your own dialogue about how to bring that soothing back moment to moment. Because remember, once something gets momentum, it's harder to slow down. And some of this can feel like a practice that if you haven't practiced enough in the midst of some chaos, it can feel a little more challenging. But the fun thing is anything done long enough gets easier. So it's like if you have one of those giant wheels, you know, that has the big, you can just, I don't know, you can't really see my hand, but you're turning it. And when you are turning it this way, when you're first turning it, it's really like, it seems like it's challenging and some effort every time you turn it. But eventually it will start going easier and easier and easier to the point where then it starts turning itself. And a similar analogy would be like pushing something. And eventually it's going to just go on its own. So that's why we're practicing, and that's okay. And we've been presented a great opportunity. Every time something happens in our conditions, that in our circumstance that isn't exactly what we were hoping for, or something especially that presents itself that seems like it's far over there, we didn't actually think we created it, but we did. It's risen in front of us. The call is, that's okay. It's just like another dish on the buffet. You don't have to eat it. It's okay that it's there. You don't have to hate it. Just be okay with it and choose according to what you want to choose. The last thing I'll end with, which is a little bit more, and by the way, if you're enjoying this video, again, please subscribe to my channel so that I can share more and more of this with you, and we can really get some conversation about these ideas going, because I think this is part of what will free us all. So as we make decisions to be different, to not just take our cues from our circumstances and to move with what we know as our truth, the more of us that do that together, the easier it will get. If you imagine a bunch of us turning the wheel, it would get easier quicker, wouldn't it? And it could be a bigger and bigger wheel, which could have bigger and bigger ripples. That's exciting. So the last thing I want to end with is, it's a little bit more out there. It really is. And it is the practice that I do around surrender. And it's facing the fear right head on, facing it right head on, looking at what underlies the fear. Like, what is the ultimate thing that you're afraid of? Because is it like loss of control? Is it death? Is it death of a loved one? Is it losing all my money, or feeling like I could lose everything? Like, what is that ultimate fear? And then pausing for a few minutes and just sitting with that, and just really like almost doing a crazy thing that's going to sound crazy, but imagining that happened, and just see all the things that would come about from it without sitting there, without getting stuck there, just being in awareness and watching it unfold. And recognizing that place of awareness still remains, that all those outer things are not you. All those things could happen and you can still be okay. Not because you want them to happen, not because you're pulling it to you or attracting it to you, but just because you need to take the charge off of it. Because even if you think, or I used to think, that by thinking about it, I was going to activate it. But by being afraid of it, I was already activating it. So it really didn't make any difference. And actually the fear creates an additional activation, which is just the simple activation of fear, which then can bring more things to fear to you. So by facing each of our fears as they come up, like facing what would happen if someone that I love died, what would happen? What would that be like? And just being okay with that experience. And don't sit there for hours. Don't make this your new job. Just like be there long enough to come to that knowing. And don't do this if you don't think you're ready. I mean, there's some nuanced part to it where you have to decide if you can be in this space with surrender. But if you can, then sit with those things and watch them evaporate. Watch them dissolve, because it's all the meaning you attach to it. It's all the worry that you added to it, which is probably far more worse when you let your mind have it than what it really would be, and come to this understanding that, oh yeah, that's right, it isn't going to happen anyway, and just feel that essence of your strength when you overcome it, when you come to the other side of it, transcend it, so to speak. So I love the surrender practice to do that. If that speaks to you, then I invite you to do it. If it feels like, no, I'm not doing that, then don't do it. You know, you got to follow your own cues, whatever resonates for you. Take what works and leave the rest, definitely. So if you liked this video, if you liked the things that I talked about, and of course, I'd always love to hear with you and get this going as a conversation. Again, subscribe and like this video, and please comment so we can get the momentum going. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.